The transfer window has closed down, but what the future holds, nobody knows. But more importantly, the near future holds very much something special for Mohamed El Neni, because there's something wrong that Mohamed El Neni is doing, which is not letting him leave Arsenal for. I think that's the latest that we know from milliyet.com.tr from Turkey. They have reported about the future of Mohamed El Neni. They say that President Burak Elmas vetoed the star name in Galatasaray. Galatasaray, the transfer work is continuing at full speed. The star midfielder Mohamed El Neni came to the agenda of the Yellow-Red team just days before the end of the transfer and registration period in Turkey. President Burak Elmas vetoed the transfer or request. The transfer was cancelled after a total cost of 15 million euros, including taxes and management fees, was charged. Galatasaray President Burak Elmas personally wanted it to happen. He started negotiations. Is now starting his negotiations with alternative names. Now, El Neni, who has 1 year contract with Arsenal left, took part in 2 games this season. El Neni played in 41 games last season and scored 3 goals. Now, El Neni, which Arsenal bought from Basel in 20. Okay, whatever. Let's not get into that. But yes, the biggest problem is that Arsenal were willing to sell El Neni to Galatasaray, but they started negotiations with El Neni. But the problem was El Neni and his wage demands were too high for the Turkish club. So that's why Galatasaray have not bought Mohamed El Neni. It's really tough to get these players out man, from Arsenal. It's really tough. It's like Manchester United trying to sell Phil Jones. Just doesn't go. Moving on, Arsenal legend Sol Campbell delivers his verdict on the signing of Takehiro Tomiyasu. He's actually spoken about what he believes about what is Tomiyasu. He believes that he's a player for the future and is pleased to see the club thinking long term in the transfer market. He says, Arsenal have been incredibly busy. It's nice they're trying. Takehiro from Bologna is a defender, good, 22, looks strong. Another potential player. That's what we are looking at the moment. I'd rather take 2 transfers, money and wages, and buy a ready-to-go player, and then you can pad it out with some other potentials as well. I'd much prefer that type of way and build up over the next 2 to 3 years. Every year, but buy those kind of signature players that can give you the instant success. Well, maybe proven, and they're more likely going to work out. Sometimes you need to join 2 transfer fees and the money to sign those signature players. They should look at that and balance it out with potential. So although he's happy, Sol Campbell, with the Takehiro Tomiyasu signing, but he's got his reservations, and we're going to talk about that later. Well, moving on. So talking about the days of more and more explanations as to why Arsenal signed a certain kind of players. Edu has explained why the Willian deal. He's actually explaining what happened to the Willian. He says, the Willian deal, I'm sorry. Edu says the decision with Willian was to sign someone with experience with a lot of Premier League games and to impact the team straight away. If you see the first game against Fulham, which we played away, he started very well, and everybody said, wow, now we have a proper team. But the circumstances were different throughout the season, inconsistent for Willian and everyone else, to be fair. So it didn't work out, and he's out of the club, man. And also, England fans are expected to unveil a banner of Bukayo Saka and Jadon Sancho when this weekend's World Cup qualifier against Andorra. So they are going to do that. Yeah. And Marcus Rashford as well, I guess. So, or the trio. And talking about the lack of sales, Edu said that we found a very, very challenging window. Not just for Arsenal, but for everyone. If you see, there are not many teams selling around the world. There are a lot of loans with options to buy. So we did 2, Matteo Guendouzi and Eros Mavropanos, who are in that situation with an obligation to buy as well, but we work the way the market is presenting to us as well. And more importantly, it looks like Leroy Sané is facing an uncertain future at the German Giants, and he could be available, and Arsenal could sign him in the next window. Do you want Leroy Sané at Arsenal? That is the transfer rumor that needs to be told to every Arsenal fan right now. Arsenal would definitely be listening to the fact that Leroy Sané is available in the market. Well, talking about another news is that Emiliano Martinez has opened up about his exit at Arsenal as to what he actually thought over it. Well, he did not want to go to Arsenal in 2010. Did you know that? He says, Arsenal came to look for me, and Pepe Santoro, a coach of Independiente, told me that the train only passes once in a lifetime. My family and my agents thought the same, so the decision was more than for them than anything else. I didn't want to go. I did not regret it, but I wanted to play in Independiente for a while. I thought if I stayed in 2 years, I will make my debut. My family lacked a little financially. I did it more than that than sports. So it was all purely money. So that's what the vibe that I'm getting from this thing. So he did it for money, man. Clear as that. Well, with Bernd Leno linked with a move away from Arsenal, Edu has dropped a bomb on him as well. So, according to Sky Sports, he says that you see the strategy for every single name. I can explain you the reasons. Ramsdale, for example, is a very good football player and has the potential to be a big part of the team in the future. So, Leno, I'm not seeing you in Arsenal next season for sure. In the summer transfer window is what I'm trying to imply. Well, according to Athletic, Arsenal chief Edu made contact to try and sign Jules Koundé, but the Sevilla defender was determined to move to Chelsea. Koundé was linked with a move to the Blues throughout the last month or so, but it has now been claimed that Arsenal also tried for the French international. Well, I would love to see if they try for him again, but for that to happen, Champions League football, and of course, the price tag that Monkey will ask for him. So not 50. That's what we know from the Chelsea bid. But moving on, so Joe Cole has claimed that it could be the end of Mikel Arteta's reign as Arsenal boss if the side failed to beat Norwich next weekend. He says the future at Arsenal is obviously up in the air. I know they played Chelsea, they played Man City, the two best teams, but it's a manner of both defeats. They had all preseason to prepare for the Brentford game, and they got it wrong on the day because they weren't at it mentally. That has happened too much with the Arsenal. That's not Arteta's fault. It's been something that's just been being damp, getting into the woodwork at the club. In the two defeats against the big boys, it was like they laid down and died. I do like how Arteta has handled the situation. He's hardening as a manager. You can see that in him. So I think he's got that. He's obviously a well-schooled coach because of his work with Pep. He's a thoughtful guy. He's in the storm at the moment. He has to find a result against Norwich. And if he doesn't beat Norwich, I think it's probably the end for him. Okay, let's see what that leads us to. And away from the transfers, former Chelsea and Spurs boss and the current AS Roma boss Jose Mourinho has sent Granit Xhaka a message on social media after he tested positive for the virus. He says, "Get the jab, Granit, and be safe." Now, Mourinho is advising Xhaka to get... Oh my God, why would you not take it anyway? So, and also one of the biggest names linked with Arsenal throughout the last transfer window that ended it was Alexander Isak. And according to rijoiace, the Gunners have retained their interest in the Swedish international and could consider making a move for the striker sooner than later. You know what? The one thing that I've understood with Edu is that next window we're going to get a striker, and more importantly, he wants to get someone who's less than 23 years of age. Who's better than Alexander Isak with that age? Let me know in the comments if you want to see Alexander Isak at Arsenal. Well, it'll be really good. But moving on, so many of the Arsenal fans have now been talking about sacking Arteta and getting Ten Hag from Ajax. So they said that signing, however, one of the fans actually said that on Twitter, that signing however many of the players you like, world class or not, if the manager is lacking the man management to put proper style and identity on the field, get Erik Ten Hag. He can bring style, identity and improvement to those youngsters. Another one said Edu and Arteta out, Overmars and Ten Hag in. Another one said we need Ten Hag and Overmars at Arsenal ASAP. Another one said, as for me, I've lost faith in Arteta. Edu has proven that he ain't up for the Arsenal technical director's job. We need the team of Overmars and Ten Hag ASAP. Well, that is what Arsenal fans have done on internet. That's what they have said. But let's see. After listening to what and after seeing the video, what Edu has actually come up with, I think I'm pretty much sure one thing is pretty much clear, that it is going to take longer than what was expected, because they've not signed in first team players. They've signed in someone who are squad players, probably reverse of what Liverpool did. So in the long run, it's good. It's a 4-5 year plan, if I tell you, if that's what I feel, because 140 150 million for squad players and some first team players. I'm pretty much sure the next summer transfer window would be as big as this one, because of course we would be definitely looking at some sentiments and some proper wingers and strikers in the next upcoming window, and a proper right back as well if we're smart enough. With this, I'd like to end this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you seek daily Arsenal content, best place to be, consider subscribing. Cheers.